Good evening, welcome to the latest live edition of Last Bell Boxing, joined by Sean. Good evening, Sean.
Evening, mate.
And Ander, good evening, Ander.
Evening, lads.
So we're going to jump straight into it. Obviously, me and Ander are a little bit deflated following the Leigh Wood result, but we don't hide on this channel, so we're going to go through the card and have a conversation about the fight. So as ever, I'll pass on to Ander. And Andy, if you want to start taking us through the card from the Leigh Wood fight, and then we'll move on to future topics afterwards.
Okay, I was going to start with Leigh Wood, but I'm not. I'll wait for. I'll leave Leigh Wood till last. Give people a chance to join the show. Right. So, where do we start down the card? I thought Aaron Bowen had a really good debut performance, mate. And by the way, he was on the before the Bell show. Kids from Coventry, just down the road from us, and he bought a really good support call. There must have been 500 people in there, and it was to be honest with you, it was pretty much everyone in the arena at that time, and they made a right racket for him. If he keeps selling tickets like that and coming out with the performances that he's doing, the kid's got a bright future. I mean, the body shot that finished was fantastic. Did you see that, Sean? Have you seen it back?
No, I was watching my nephew in a play. I've only seen the card from Chev Clark onwards.
Yeah, it was real good. Like I said, me and Cole spoke to him as well. There's an interview on the channel with him, and he's a real nice kid, isn't he, Cole?
Yeah, he did make it clear that he's not here to play, though, doesn't he? You know, obviously a glittering amateur career. I think he'll move quickly.
Yeah, but won medals in the amateurs. Matchroom haven't took long to get hold of him, have they? And you can understand why with that performance. So good luck to him going forward. Okay, who should we go with next? Kieran Conway. Again, someone we spoke to, someone we've got an interview with on the channel. Real nice fella as well. Felt a little bit like a tune-up fight for me. Didn't really go through the gears because he didn't really have to. But he's quality into.
Yeah, he did make it clear in the interview again that's on the channel that this is a one-off at super middleweight. Expect to go back down to middle and fight Amo Williams. I've said to Andy all the way along, I rate Conway. I think he's earned his stripes now. He's gone in the away corner in the big fight. Now he deserves a real promotional push.
Well, there's another Brit, mate, isn't there? That seems to be dodging Amo Williams. Kieran Conway never did that. You know what I mean? He went in there into the lion's den and took Williams on.
Are you talking about Felix Cash?
Yeah, I'm talking about Felix Cash, yeah. Come up a little bit short, but he had the guts to go and do it. I mean, nothing's... You know, what makes me laugh is, with the Felix Cash Amo Williams fight, they make the big song and dance, pay a fortune, I'm sure, to get Amo Williams to come over in Leeds on the undercard to Warrington, and then it all just dies off and nothing else is said. It makes no sense. Why have him over if you're not going to make that fight next?
Yeah,
anyway, that's going off the subject a little bit. Again, did you see that, Sean? The Conway fight?
No, I didn't. No.
Did you see it, Lee?
Conway fight, yeah.
What did you think?
Not great.
I was just saying before you joined, it felt a little bit like he was just brushing off a bit of rust, a bit of a warm up. It was at super middleweight, which is not his weight. Middleweight's his weight, and he made it very clear to us, as Cole's just said, that he'll be dropping back down to middleweight after this fight. He was in great shape though, considering. You know.
Yeah.
What about that Aaron Bowen? Did you see that one?
No.
Okay. Well, we've moved on from that anyway, so I won't repeat it. Who should we go with next? Bit of a shock. Gamal Yafai against Diego Alberto Ruiz. I don't know where Yafai goes from here, Carl. I mean, we were stood watching it, kind of shaking our heads, because every time Ruiz landed, he hurt Yafai. Real shocker for me. I don't really understand what was going on. It's like Yafai had absolutely nothing left. Whether he'd done weight wrong or what, he didn't seem to have anything left.
He didn't look like he had any to fight. It was like he didn't want to be there, in my opinion.
He was throwing. Every time he was throwing, he was off balance. Very strange fight. I don't know whether anything's been said since. I've not seen anything on social media about it, but yeah, I mean, you said, didn't you? Maybe he's burst an eardrum because his balance was that bad. Sean, did you see that one?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
What's your opinion? What was your opinion on the fight, and what do you think went off there?
I don't know. We've seen it a few times where it looked a bit off. Didn't he fight one of the McDonald's that he lost as well? And you know, I think he sort of found his level, and yeah, I don't see where he goes. I don't think he'll do anything big in the sport anyway.
What about you, Lee?
He's done, isn't he? I think he I don't think he's ever looked particularly great. He's not as good as his brothers, is he? Either of them. Yeah, he's kind of in their shadows a bit, but what can you do?
Cole, what would you do with him? Cole?
Sorry, I didn't know it was me. I'm not sure what you do with him, because I'd want to see some appetite for a fight, because it wasn't there Saturday night. No. So as he run his race, because you know that was obviously a fight to get him back in the mix, wasn't it? Get him back on the winning run, and I can't believe how he just looked like he didn't want to be there.
Yeah, I don't think. I think Lee might be right. I think he might be done, because where does he? You know, what do they do? Drop him down to British level, just to keep him fighting. So that's not going to happen, surely.
I mean, I don't know how much he's heard from the sport. He's active, hasn't he?
Well, he'll have heard plenty, but sometimes for fighters, it's not about that. They have to get rid of that itch, don't they? Otherwise, they just keep fighting because it's all they know. Okay, moving on. Junaid Bostain, a fighter that Eddie Earns really got high hopes for, pushing big. Lee, what was your opinion on him? It was only his 5th fight.
He looks good, doesn't he? I thought that before to be honest. He's been knocking everyone out. Didn't knock that many people out when he was in his amateur career, but he seems to be in his early pro career so far. I think he looks a real deal. I think Matchroom are looking at him as one of their next big prospects as well.
I think they are as well. They were
I think Grant Smith's done a great job with him, I do.
Yeah.
I really do.
Very underrated coach, Carl.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's part of the crop that's going to be sort of flying the flag for Matchroom in the next 3 or 4 years. So I think he's a very big fighter for them in the future.
Moving swiftly on to who is definitely going to be a massive star, and that's Gary Cully. The kid's he's got everything. He has a certain, sometimes you'll see a fighter and then you see him in person and they have an aura. And he's got an aura without even trying. He's massive at the weight. He's got huge levers. And I don't think it does it justice on telly, just how big he is at the weight. I was very shocked. And the guy throws shots from all angles with a lot of power. If if he's not struggling at the weight, if he can stay at the weight, he's doing some serious damage at lightweight. I mean, that was for the WBA Intercontinental. Apparently, now he's won that fight, he's going to be co-main for the Taylor Serrano fight in Ireland.
Maxie Hughes, isn't it?
Say again?
Is it against Maxie Hughes?
Possibly, yeah. I don't think that's been confirmed, has it?
Not confirmed, but...
the rumours flying around is that Maxie Hughes don't want it, isn't it?
I've heard that Max Hughes has got a bigger opponent in mind for a lot more money. But that's yet to be confirmed or denied, so I'm not going to say it on this channel, even though we did have it on quite good authority. The talks were underway.
You mean on very good authority?
On very good authority, then. But yeah, so we'll see where that goes. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think it matters who he fights. He's going to be massive. It'll be massive in Ireland now already, because let's have it right. Other than Conlon, Katie Taylor, there's no real massive stars in Ireland at the minute.
Piers O'Leary's going to be another one.
Yeah. But Cully's ready to go to the top right now, mate. He's that big and he's that powerful at that weight. Like I say, them levers, he's very, very difficult to get around because of how big he is and the style he's got and how quick he is. He's brilliant.
I don't think he'll stay at that weight.
No way.
I think.
No way whatsoever.
No, he's got loads and loads of energy, hasn't he? It doesn't look to me like he's struggling. He's not struggling at the weight.
I think he'll go up.
He's got a very slender frame. I think you'll find he'll at least fight for a world title at that weight before he moves anywhere.
I don't know. I think he's too tall for the weight, but
he is very tall for the weight. Absolutely right. Cole, do you want to pick a couple of comments up? I noticed it coming through in the sidebar.
Well, there's only one from Joe regarding your fight. He has more cringer than Battle Cat. It's your fight's time to hang them up, as in the gloves. And there's a couple at the top. No, that's it, Andy.
Imran was just asking if we'd gone through the Wood fight yet, which we haven't. Okay, moving swiftly on to a fight that I thought was going to be fight of the night, and it was a really good fight, but I was very disappointed in Dalton Smith, if I'm being completely honest. I think he struggled to negate what Billy Allington was doing in the fight. If he's going to go on to be world level, he needs to be figuring out fighters like Billy Allington. I know, Lee, I'll come to you first because I know that you was kind of brushing off Billy Allington as nowhere near the level, but
he's not. He's still not.
Well, you say that, but so why didn't Dalton deal with him then?
Because Dalton was poor. Dalton had a bad night.
I thought Smith.
But that's 2 fights in a row then. He's had bad nights. That's not good, is it?
No, it's not. No, I'm not making excuses for him. Billy Allington, the levels they're talking about with Dalton Smith, Billy Allington's nowhere near those levels. And to be honest, I think Dalton, he still controlled the fight. He wasn't particularly as impressive as people were expecting him to be. But yeah,
I hear what you're saying.
He's going to have to improve.
He did control the fight. He won the fight fairly clearly, but Allington had his moments in the fight. He was getting through with shots that he shouldn't have been getting through with.
Yeah, I think that was more down to Dalton. I thought Dalton was a poor version of himself compared to anything else. And to be honest, I don't see anything in there that troubles Adam Azim at the moment.
I don't think Dalton was ever in trouble in the fight, was there?
No,
maybe not, Carl. But if you're thinking about moving him on like they want to, he's got to be doing better, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Is that a concern? Do you think for his promoter and for his coach, stroke dad? That's two fights now where he's looked under par.
You've got to look at it the other way there. It could entice fighters to think, you know what, I'll have a go at him.
It could be a Bivol scenario like against Spider Richards where he just does enough to win. And he'll get better as he faces the better opponents.
Let's hope so. I mean, he's British champion, so the only fighters that are likely to to challenge him for that title are going to be fighters that are not as good as him. Right?
Yeah, Imran said in the sidebar, it's good shout. Azim versus Smith, who wins?
Azim.
I'm not sure it's as cut and dry as that.
I think Piers O'Leary would beat Dalton Smith at the moment.
Azim, I think Azim's the real deal. He's got some serious power. I think he really pushes Dalton Smith because
good fight.
If Billy Allington can land like that on Dalton Smith, Azim's definitely landing on him. Sean, what's your take on the way Dalton's performed in his last 2 fights?
I felt it was a bit lackluster on Saturday. However, I'm not sort of fully subscribed to the Adam Azim train yet, and I think Dalton Smith beats him. I think for Dalton Smith, he's one of these fighters where he sort of similar to Billy Joe Saunders in this sense, a sort of lower level is the lower performances, and as soon as the opponents rise, I think we'll see a better version of Dalton Smith.
Hope so. I hope that's the case because you know, I like the setup they've got there. They're very humble. They're a very humble team, or they come across as a very humble team, very likable. I hope that happens because I think his dad's a really good coach, and he's got his best interests at heart without a shadow of a doubt. So let's see where it goes from here.
Joe says Azim needs a couple of more step-up fights first, but stop Smith if they ever fight.
I can't argue with Joe at the minute. On the last couple of performances from Dalton Smith, he needs something explosive, Dalton Smith, to get himself back on track.
Imran says Billy Joe didn't rise against Canelo, got his face battered.
He was winning the fight before that happened, but yeah.
Yeah, the problem with that though, Lee, is I don't necessarily agree with you because the way Canelo stalks fighters, it looks like he's not doing anything. And what he's actually doing is he's wearing fighters down with his style. Billy Joe wasn't allowed to stop all fight, and he was working Billy Joe out. That uppercut come hook that he landed that did the damage to Billy Joe's eye, that wasn't accidental. He'd worked that out from what Billy Joe was doing in the previous rounds and how Billy Joe was coming out of exchanges.
Oh yeah, I'm not denying that, but he was still winning the fight on the cards.
He had some good rounds, don't get me wrong. But like I say, the style that Canelo puts across is he'll always be behind early on because the way he works fighters out.
Yeah, but this isn't about Canelo, it's about Billy Joe Saunders. He said about Billy Joe hasn't stepped up. He did step up against Canelo and he was ahead on the cards, but yeah, he got found out because Canelo's a much better fighter.
Okay, swiftly moving on to Leigh Wood against Maurizio Lara. I'll come to Imran first because he's itching to say his piece on this. I can tell. Let's see what you've got to say, Imran.
I thought it was a great fight. I thought it was a great fight. I really enjoyed it. And you know what? Even though Leigh Wood got beat, right? I actually think, for me personally, I don't know what you guys think, because obviously maybe you guys thought he was going to win, but I actually think that his stock rose for me as a fighter. I actually look at him now that this guy's, I knew he was a warrior after the Conlon fight, but after that performance, the way he was boxing, I thought he was boxing beautifully. And I actually thought he was comfortably ahead. And we were actually talking because we were watching it together as a family. And we were impressed. And my dad was actually saying to me that he's going to win this fight easily. That guy's wild. And then boom, out of nowhere, that left hook landed, and the fight just it basically ended with that punch. But I thought Wood's performance was really good. I think he should fight him again. I don't know if he beats him because that guy's got serious power and he's wild. And the problem is with Wood, he's kind of loose. He gets hit a lot. I saw that in the Conlon fight. And against a big puncher like Lara, he could get hurt again, because now Lara's going to be confident because Lara knows I can hurt this guy and I can hurt him bad. So it's going to be interesting. But I do think Wood has to take that rematch, because I think he had so much success in the fight where he needs to take that rematch. He needs to see if he can actually outbox him for 12 rounds. I think he made a mistake. He got caught and he got flattened, basically. But his performance prior to that was brilliant. You know, you have to say he performed really well. He's a good boxer. He just needs to avoid getting hit with a big shot against Lara, which is difficult because Lara is very reckless, very powerful. You know, as Wilder says, I only have to be perfect for 1 second. You have to be perfect for 36 minutes. I don't think Leigh Wood's got huge punching power as well. I think he's got respectable power, but he hasn't got huge punching power. Like Lara has the kind of punching power that can take you out with one punch. I'm not sure Leigh Wood has that. So yeah, I think it's a very interesting rematch. I want to see. Hopefully Leigh Wood can come back, and even if he doesn't fight, Lara, I think Leigh Wood should probably fight Warrington. And by the way, I think he beats Warrington comfortably. I don't think Warrington's any threat because I don't think Warrington has much punching power. I think he's a better boxer than Warrington. I think he's stronger than Warrington physically. I think that would be a beatdown. And Warrington, for me, is past his best anyway. So I think Leigh Wood should fight Warrington first, beat him, and then probably look to fight Lara. I don't know if he beats Lara, though. Do you know what I mean? Because that's a tough one.
Sean, what was your take on the fight?
Yeah, I thought Wood was boxing well at times, but for me, I don't think his punches was really having an effect on Lara. Lara seemed to shake it off, come back with twice the volume, and we saw what happened in the end. I don't want to see Warrington and Lara though. That's something I don't want to see for a third time. And I agree. I think Wood and Warrington is the fight next, and then the winner can easily challenge for a world title.
Leigh?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it kind of went the way I said it would. I always said he's a better boxer, technical boxer, but he wasn't going to be able to avoid him for 12 rounds. He wasn't. At some point, he was going to make a mistake. If you watch, Lara he was letting him come onto him. He was using the counter punch, and he was just waiting for that mistake. And as soon as it came, that was it. It was over. It was unfortunate, but I can't see how a rematch would be any different, because you summed up brilliantly what you said a minute ago about Wilder. Lara's only got to be good for 10 seconds, whereas Wood would need to be brilliant for 12 rounds, and he was brilliant for six and a half rounds. But it doesn't take long, does it?
That's a big problem when you're in there with someone that can punch like that. It's just very difficult. You have to
He was too dangerous, Lara. He was too dangerous for him.
Yeah. And Wood gets hit. He gets hit a lot as well. You know, if you look at him, he's not the most elusive guy, or he's not a Mayweather. You know, he can avoid punches. He's not really that type of fighter. He gets hit a lot. And that's the problem against Lara. One shot and it's good night.
A rematch wouldn't be any different. A rematch would not be any different.
Imran, I hear what you're saying. But I don't think Leigh Wood did get it a lot. Yeah, he was open for that final shot, and he's straight away admitted he made a mistake. But in my opinion, the game plan that him and Ben Davison set out was excellent. Pouring out with the jab, keeping Lara at enough of a distance, and then when he was throwing shots off the jab, it was always something different. He was always making Lara think. Lara couldn't get himself set. The only other round that Lara had any success was round 2, and that was
Lara read him like a book, mate.
That was no, he didn't. He didn't.
He did.
No,
he did.
No, he
He
didn't.
did.
What's
It's
the
your
right
bias coming out. He did.
Leigh Wood won every round apart from round 2.
I know he did.
5
But
rounds to 1.
Lara wasn't ever going to let it go to point.
Like a Butley, why wasn't he timing him in all the other rounds? He didn't do that.
Lara was never going to let it go to points, mate. He didn't care about the cards. It was just that all he needed was that mistake, and he knew over 12 rounds of boxing it would come, and it did.
Lee, I'm not that sure that Lara at that point was that much in control where he knew it was going to come. I actually think Lara was
at some point he knew it was
trouble at that point.
He wasn't in control though, Lee.
He might have knocked him out. But I don't think the fight was that. I think Lara was feeling it as well. I think Lara was struggling and he was a bit frustrated, swinging wildly. And I don't think Lara's got that kind of boxing ability where he was thinking that it's gonna come. I think Lara's really wild. I think he can be outboxed comprehensively.
He was being outboxed.
I don't know whether Leigh Wood's the man to do it, but I think another elite boxer would outbox him comprehensively.
He was being outboxed. He already was being outboxed, but it doesn't matter.
It was having success, though, wasn't it? It was having successfully. Let's not rewrite history here. He was having success in that fight, and he just got. And let's be honest, that left hook, just like Conlon, unfortunately connected. So
he was. I'm not rewriting history. I'm just saying that was going to happen at some point over the 12 rounds, and it did. I can't argue that, can you? Leigh Wood was winning the fight.
It's easy to say it when it's actually happened, but
I said it last week, actually.
You might have done, mate. That was before the fight, right? But as the fight was going on, the longer the fight was going on, it was looking more and more like Leigh Wood was in control. Nothing apart from round 2, when Leigh Wood neglected his jab. Apart from round 2, there's not a single point in that fight. Did it look like Lara was going to win? So it's easy to say Lara was waiting for him. Lara wasn't waiting for him. Lara was getting hurt with body shots. Lara couldn't handle the fact that Leigh Wood was varying all of his shots.
You're missing the point, mate.
No, I'm not.
You are, because it doesn't matter that Leigh Wood was winning all of those rounds. I said to you last week, I think he's probably a better technical boxer, but Lara is too dangerous, and he will catch him at some point, and he did. There's no arguing that. He was winning the fight.
He was slowing down a bit though, Lee, wasn't he? Lara was slowing down. He was feeling the pace a little bit, in my view.
Yeah, because I thought Leigh Wood was exceptional up until that point. I thought he really was. He boxed amazingly, and he was up. There's no denying that. But
Leigh Wood made one mistake. He made one mistake.
That's all. Your big comment up in the side. So Joe.
That's all it takes.
Lee, let me just put this comment up. So in my opinion, Lara let Wood off the hook. Wood going in the second round, then took the third off. Wood boxed to orders until Lara found the money shot. He goes on to say, I did think Wood had Lara hurt to the body a couple of times.
I think Wood's a good fighter. He's a very good fighter, actually. I actually didn't. When you guys first talked about him, I didn't really rate him. That I saw a few of his fights, wasn't that impressed. But I think he's a really good fighter. I genuinely think that if he fights Lara again, it'll be a good fight. You know, I'm not saying he's definitely going to win, but I think he could beat the guy. I do think he can beat the guy. He might get knocked out again, but I think it's a good fight and a fight that he needs to take again, because we saw enough in that fight for us to see that that deserves a rematch. You know what I saw in the fight. Do you know what I saw in the fight, Imran?
Yeah. And it gives me a lot of confidence going into a rematch. Is that Wood is a much better fighter than Lara. Much better fighter than Lara. Lara is very good.
Better boxer.
Better fighter.
Better boxer, not a better fighter.
Yeah, better boxer. Sorry, poor words. Better boxer, right? He will work out a way in the second fight. You know why? Because he'll watch it back and he won't drop his hand.
The bias is incredible.
Landed, you can laugh as much as you want, mate. The reason that shot landed was
so biased.
because Lara didn't land that shot in any of the other 6 rounds, did it?
He's a killer, though, Andy. He's a
I know he's a killer. It only takes one shot. I understand that, right?
Andy,
what
mate.
I'm saying to you is, of the two fighters, Leigh Wood is a much better boxer. A much better boxer. He's got much better IQ and he's got much better ring craft.
No one's denying that.
No one's denying that. That's all he's got. He's not anywhere near Leigh Wood's level.
Okay, that's all he's got. That's all he's got. That's enough, Andy. That's enough. Over 12 rounds, that is enough.
The opportunity, which he did.
Andy, you had this same argument with Carl over Deontay Wilder the other week, and it's the same with Leigh Wood and Lara.
It is.
You're wrong.
And if all it takes is one mistake.
He
did do. But Leigh Wood's got to take that away from him, hasn't like he did for the first 5 rounds, and then he got from one round in round 2.
It's clouding your judgment, mate.
No, it's not clouding my judgment.
It is.
I'll give you my view. My view is that I do think Wood could win that fight. I think there's enough there to demonstrate that he has got the attributes to win the fight. It's a fucking tough fight. Don't get me wrong. We knew that.
Of course.
But I just think I do think there's enough there, Lee, in Leigh Wood's attributes for him to be able to beat Lara. Now, or after Warrington, I'm not quite. That's another question. But I do think we saw enough to say that Leigh Wood has got the ability to beat Lara. That's my view.
Carl, the thing is this, right? Leigh Wood's not getting younger. He needs to make a few quid, eh? Yeah. Fight Warrington, make some money. Then, I mean, like, he could get knocked out against Lara, and then what is he done after that? I mean, I think I agree that what you're saying is right. I think as well. I'm not entirely confident that Andy is that he's going to beat Lara, and I'm not in Lee's corner in the sense that I'm definitely sure that Lara's going to knock him out. But the fact is, me and you both agree, Carl, that this could be a fight where Leigh Wood gets starched again, right?
But,
so,
Imran, if Wood gets taken out again, the Warrington fight's still there anyway.
Yeah. But why not take the Warrington fight? He's going to beat Warrington. Warrington's not beating Wood. He's not beating Wood. I'm telling you,
Imran,
he can't beat him.
Imran, in my opinion, the Warrington fight is no longer on the table.
Why?
So there's 2 fights that could happen. It's either Leigh Wood activates his rematch straight away and fights Lara first, or he allows Lara to fight Warrington again, and then he takes the winner. Either way, Leigh Wood's got the fight against the winner. But the Leigh Wood against Warrington fight won't happen, because if they go away like that, then Lara's going to go off and fight someone else.
No, but there's a rematch clause, and Eddie Hearn said today that that can happen. That Warrington and Wood can fight, and then Lara fights the winner. I mean, Lara would want to fight the winner because it's a payday for him.
I don't see it after what Lara did to Warrington at the end of the fight, which, by the way, we haven't talked about yet, is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in boxing.
Yeah,
and he should be getting fined drastically for that. He might have been trying to spit at Warrington, but that could have gone anywhere, over anybody.
Disgusting.
Leigh Wood jumps in with Lara next. Leigh Wood jumps back. I don't think it'll be Warrington next. I think Leigh Wood would get to Eddie Hearn on Monday and he'll say, I want him again.
Put it this way, he could win that fight. Over 12 rounds, if he didn't make a mistake, he could. Okay? He is the better boxer, but I just don't go with the supremely confident that he will do that, because I think over 12 rounds, I think at some point in 12 rounds he makes a mistake, and I think Lara capitalizes on that.
That's a fair
but
comment.
Boxing ability-wise, he is better, and he was winning. And if he hadn't have made that mistake and he carried on, he would have won it clearly. The scorecards would have been so wide, it was ridiculous. But when you're in there with someone as dangerous as that, I mean, look at who was it? Wilder fought Ortiz, wasn't it? And Ortiz is well ahead on the cards, well ahead. And then look what happened. That's all I'm saying. Is Lara's dangerous.
I said to Andy in the stadium, didn't Andy? I turned around and said, when you've got the equaliser, that's what can happen.
Well, that's why Lara's classed as the boogeyman and the danger man in the
division. That's why no one wants him.
Because he's got that X factor. That goes without saying. But there's so much going for Leigh Wood in that second fight, in my opinion. That's all. Of course, the same thing could happen again. If Leigh Wood makes a mistake again, the same thing happens again. Of course it does.
I'll respect you backing him in that. Fair enough. again, like I said, he's a better boxer. And don't get me wrong, I hope he wins a rematch. I wanted him to win Saturday. I was gutted for him. I was absolutely gutted for him. But sometimes it's just levels, isn't there? And I just think Lara's a killer, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure. The problem is, can Leigh Wood hurt him? Because I think Leigh Wood
was Imran.
Say that again.
I think Leigh Wood was. I think he was. I think that's why Lara was slowing down. Leigh Wood was hurting him with body shots.
Yeah, he's physically strong because Leigh Wood's pretty big at the weight, so that was having a toll. And he looks bigger than Lara as well. But I mean, hurt him by shaking with one punch where he could put him down. Because Leigh Wood's not a massive puncher where he's gonna hurt you and knock you out with one punch. Dominic Ingle mentioned that as well, and that's the problem. The other guy that he's facing and that's a big issue. That's a big problem. So like I said, it's very difficult to stay focused for 12 rounds. You're gonna get caught at some stage, especially against a wild guy like that. He's swinging wildly at times, Lara. It's gonna land.
Ironically, I think Conlan's the man to do a job on Lara.
Possibly.
It's,
yeah. Possibly.
It's how you get caught, though, isn't it, Imran? Leigh Wood got caught a few times in round 2, but they didn't have the same effect because he was taking them on his gloves, or they were partial shots. It was that last shot that knocked Leigh Wood out was clean, and that's why it took him out. And Leigh Wood was throwing his hook. If you notice, Leigh Wood was throwing a hook at the same time.
Yeah, he got hit with a shot.
And the one thing he did, in my opinion, was get up too early. If you watch it back, you hear his corner saying, "Take your time." Well, he jumped up, didn't he?
At that point, he was so badly hurt. I mean,
to be honest, though, Carl. To be honest, it wouldn't have mattered if he'd took a knee for 7 or 8 seconds.
And I'll be honest, that's a warrior in him, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. And wanting to carry on as well was the worry in it. I want to talk, and I'll come to Sean on this one. I want to talk a little bit about the referee. Because there's been a lot of people say Ben Davison shouldn't have threw the towel in. He should have given Leigh Wood the 10 seconds. He should have given him a minute in the corner to gather himself. But believe me and Carl were stood watching Leigh Wood in that corner. Ben Davison was holding him up. His legs weren't right for a good 5 minutes. So that 1 minute in the corner would have made no difference. I want to talk about the referee because the referee's there, stood right next to Leigh Wood. He's looking at Leigh Wood. He asked Leigh Wood to hold his gloves up, and he doesn't do it properly. I don't know if you saw that. He held his gloves up for a split second, then dropped them again. How's the referee not stopping that as a contest? Fair enough, Leigh Wood's the champion, and he's going to want to give him the opportunity. But the more I watch it back, the more I'm convinced the referee should have stepped in.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I don't think we're blessed with the best referees in this country. As you say, it's something that the referee should have picked up on, being so close to Wood in the ring. As for Ben Davison, I personally think he made the right call there. You can see on countless replays, angles, whatever you want to call them, that Leigh Wood was in no position to carry on. And as you say, the minute wouldn't have done any difference. But I just think if it's refs, judges in this country, we just seem to be blessed with a few incompetent ones. And unfortunately, we haven't got the officials where we got a good crop, I'm afraid.
The thing for me as well on this is, because of how hard Lara hits, allowing Leigh Wood to carry on for them last 10 seconds could have been the difference between him having another fight, getting a rematch, or never fighting again. Because he hits that hard, Leigh Wood was in no condition to defend himself properly. He was already dazed. So imagine what another shot of that power would have done.
It would have been stretched out.
I dread to think, to be quite honest. He was in no fit state to take another shot. In my opinion, Ben Davison saved Leigh Wood's career.
Yeah.
I think it goes back to the argument, doesn't it, of trying to get ex-fighters or ex-people that's been in the boxing profession as refs, because they know when to stop it. They've been there. They've been in the shoes of a boxer, and at the end of the day, they've got the best judgment, I think.
You know who should have officiated it, don't you? Howard Foster. He never stopped to, he always comes up with the goods. Don't you,
George has to come back to Carl Froch, don't it? Imran, what was your initial take on the Ben Davison stoppage?
Yeah, I think the referee should have stopped the fight. I think Ben Davison wouldn't have got the stick that he got. I mean, Ben Davison got a lot of stick. People don't like Ben Davison. A lot of people
they don't
have an agenda against him. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's because he's young and he got the Tyson Fury gig and people just have some kind of jealousy. I don't know what it is, but I actually think the guy speaks very well. He's very intelligent. He analyzes things really well. And to be honest, he's done a very good job with Leigh Wood. I mean, since Leigh Wood's been under his wing, he's gone from strength to strength. So I don't know why I feel like certain people have maybe an agenda against him. But in terms of the referee should have stopped that fight. I mean, Leigh Wood at that point was in no fit. I mean, I saw him in the corner that Ben Davison was still, after the referee had stopped the fight, even though Leigh Wood was protesting not to stop the fight, you could clearly see that he was wobbling and he wasn't in a fit state. Yeah. I mean, you could clearly see that the referee, I don't know whether he was under some pressure or Leigh Wood being the home fighter or the match. I don't know whether he was trying to give him a chance. I don't know what it was, but I mean, it was quite clear. It was quite clear. I mean, we were pretty divided at home, to be honest with you. My dad thought that they could have let it go on because there was 10 seconds left. He could have recovered after a minute. But I think if he had 4 minutes, 5 minutes, I don't think he would have recovered, to be honest. I think he was really badly hurt there.
It just shows you, though, Imran. It just shows you how people's perceptions. Because obviously, Tony Bellew and Carl Froch came out very quickly, didn't they, and said it shouldn't have been stopped, only to do a U-turn Sunday morning. That's how difficult it is.
I mean, I mean, Tony Bellew should know better. I mean, he fought Adonis Stevenson, and then I remember when Adonis Stevenson hurt him, and then after that, it wasn't as badly hurt as Wood, and then he got hit with the left hand from Stevenson, and that totally staggered him. I mean, it's very dangerous boxing, eh? Like, if they had let that fight go on and Leigh Wood would have got hit with another shot and got flattened badly, I mean, then Ben Davison would have got stick, or I think that the right decision. I think he threw in the towel. He could clearly see. No one knows Leigh Wood better than Ben Davison, right? Because he sees him in the gym every day, so he knows best about his fighter, and he made the right call. And in my opinion, that Leigh Wood wasn't in a fit state to continue. It doesn't matter whether it was 2 seconds left. At the end of the day, you don't judge a fight whether with how many seconds left in the round. You judge it at the moment. And at the moment, he wasn't in a position to continue.
I don't think for a second Ben Davison was looking at the clock thinking there was 10 seconds left. He was just looking at Leigh Wood and going, are you fit to continue or are you not? And that's what the referee should have done. I think the referee may have been looking at the clock.
He's come out and said he didn't know how long was left. He's admitted that. He said he didn't know how long was left. It's whether Leigh Wood could defend himself.
Who's that, sorry?
Ben Davison's come out and said that.
Imran, in your opinion, if that shot had landed within the first minute of that round, do you think the referee would have stopped it then?
Possibly. I do think he would have given Wood. I think he would have given Wood all the chance in order to try to give it. I think he was trying to give Wood the best chance to recover. He's the champion. He's the matchroom fighter. So obviously, I mean, there is the referee. They're under a certain amount of pressure. Even though I'm not saying that he was influenced in any way, but I mean they are. He was giving him all the chance to recover. I mean, anyone could see. Having said that, though, we were divided at home. I mean, my dad thought that the referee, the Ben Davison shouldn't throw it in the towel. So that's why I'm saying that there were people divided. But in my opinion, I think the referee wanted that. Referee was giving him all the chance to recover he could. But in that moment, you could clearly see he was badly hurt. Shouldn't have allowed that.
Me and Carl, Imran, were sat halfway up the arena.
Yeah.
So not ringside, but even from our vantage point, we could see it was the right decision.
Yeah.
there was loads of people around me. Loads of people around me were going, "What the hell is going on? Why has it been stopped?" But I don't think they would. I think that was more emotion because they were Leigh Wood fans than thinking about, like, clear-headedly thinking about Leigh Wood as a fighter in his health. I think it was more a case of, oh no, the fight shouldn't have been stopped. Leigh Wood still had a chance. Blah blah blah.
I think he was having a lot of success, and the fight was going in his direction. So all of a sudden, it came out of the shot flattened him out of the blue, and then it changed. It basically, I feel that a lot of people thought that he was going to go on to win the fight, and he was the underdog and stuff. And then all of a sudden, the guy hit him with a huge shot, put him on the floor, and people were a bit left like, you know, they were probably left a bit underwhelmed because they thought, oh, we could see Leigh would pull off a great win here, and then he ended up getting. So I think that might be a reason why. But I don't think. I think most importantly, could he have won the fight from that position? No. So why continue?
Why risk it?
Yeah.
Carl, I'm struggling to see these comments in the sidebar, mate.
So I'll pick up and up. Joe says the ref has to give Wood every chance. I've no problem with the ref, to be honest. Ryan Rourke says, good evening, Ryan. Because the referee would have got slammed saying it was an early stoppage and maybe struggled to get fights. He then goes on to talk about Bellew. So Eddie Hearn probably told Bellew to say something else. He is Hearn's puppet after all. Never seen a better ass kisser than Bellew when it comes to Hearn.
Wow.
Fair enough. And then Joe says, do you think fighters and trainers should have an agreement as what they do in that situation?
No.
I'm not sure you can start having contracts.
No. That's asking for trouble, isn't it? If a trainer's being told by a fighter, you don't stop this fight until I'm out cold on the floor. No. It's always got to be the trainer that makes that decision. Always.
Probably Wilder has it in his contract. Don't spike my water. Don't pull me out of a fight.
Why would that be, man?
Hey?
Why would that be?
I don't know.
We'll use the word allegedly after that one, fella.
He's a bit of a weird character, eh? Wilder.
Well, talking about situations, let's move on, shall we? And I know you'll all have a view on this one. So, obviously, the WBC have come out. You've got the British Boxing Board of Control giving their statement. So, I'll come to Sean first on this one. Sean, what the hell is happening with Conor Benn?
I don't know. I'm a bit scrambled by it all, if I'm being honest. Yeah, it's just a mad situation, isn't it? I mean, you've got three people at war with each other, really. You've got the board, you've got the WBC, and you've got VADA. No one's really come out with anything clear other than he's had a few eggs to eat and he's been contaminated. I'm still none the wiser, if I'm being honest.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I was of the understanding that this drug that's being used is not used on chickens that lay eggs in the UK.
Don't know.
Right or wrong. That's what I heard.
I hadn't heard that.
So it's used obviously to make chickens more fertile so they lay more eggs, right?
Isn't Conor Benn vegan?
No, because he's obviously eating eggs.
Clearly
right?
not if he's eating a shed load of eggs. Yeah, but I heard I don't know what it was on, but it was quite a good source that said that this particular drug was not used in the system, the poultry system in the UK. So what? Has Conor Benn been shipping his eggs in from somewhere else? Is that what's happened? He's not gone down Tesco and bought a load then?
WBC eggs.
Where do eggs actually originate from, though?
It's UK farms, Carl. They don't all come from abroad.
Carl's got props now.
Well, we've got loads of eggs here. I don't know what that means.
It means don't take a drug test, Carl.
No.
Okay, Lee, you're not shy at giving an answer here. Are you accepting this decision?
Not accepting. I'm not accepting the decision because it's almost like they said, "Okay, we believe Connor's version of events." Now, to me, that's not proof. I think there needed to be. I think the statement, if it had read more like the traces found in his system are more consistent with that of a food substance rather than something that was performance enhancement, then maybe. But it just doesn't sit right that it's like, okay, yeah, we agree with that it could have been through eating too many eggs, basically. Not worded that way, but in a nutshell, that was kind of what they said.
Robert Smith's not wearing it though, is he?
Is he not?
I don't think that. They're still going to investigate, aren't they? The British Boxing Board of Control.
Yeah, but what else can they investigate other than they said they were waiting for the WBC's decision as to whether they put Ben back in the rankings.
Gave him his license back, have they?
Since when was it unknowingly anyway? Because Canelo got a ban, and they had the receipts for the meat and this, that, and all the other, didn't they? Again, whether you believe it or not, but still, he's still taken that, whether it's knowingly or unknowingly, and it's still meant to be a ban, isn't it? From my understanding.
I'm lost with it all. I'll be honest.
I think it's a fine line, isn't it? I mean, from what they were saying, they were trace samples. It wasn't like he was doped out of his eyeballs on it.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's been taken into consideration. That it's been contaminated and it's trace rather than if it had been a big amount, if it had been a really high level, then you don't get away with the argument of contamination, do you?
I think if he doesn't clear, I still think.
The thing is though, Carl. The thing is though, Carl. He has cleared his name because the WBC are saying that they're accepting it.
Not with the British Boxing Board of Control, he hasn't, until Robert Smith comes out and says so.
But the problem is, the problem is this, right? Ben wasn't found positive on a test with the British Boxing Board of Control's tester. He was found with a test from VADA for the WBC. So this argument that the British Boxing Board are still going to investigate what? Because the UCAD testers that they used didn't even find the trace. So what have the British Boxing Board got to test? They either take the decision from the WBC that they're happy that it wasn't a proper failed test. It was contaminated, and that's their tester, VADA. What else of the board? I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit. What else have the board got to test? Really? What else can they do that the WBC haven't done?
Imran, did you want to jump in?
Yeah, you know what? I was listening to what you guys are saying. You know what? I just find this just shocking. I mean, I don't know how, like, just looking at this logically, I mean, they've come out and said that so basically they're saying that I thought when they said they have evidence, I thought it's going to be something, and I was waiting for it. Like, this is going to be really good evidence. And all of a sudden we hear that he's eating 50 eggs a day. I mean, that, firstly, I mean, for any human to eat 50 eggs a day, like Conor Benn's not Ronnie Coleman's clone. I mean, eating 50 eggs a day. I mean, even those guys don't eat that many eggs. So firstly, that for me is shocking, because I eating 50 eggs is not normal. And I don't think any human being could do that. To be honest with you, I've studied bodybuilding and sport performing at the highest level. That's not practical. So firstly, to believe that is shocking, right? And then it's just like, to me, it's just bizarre. I mean, how can you? The WBC have come out and said they're not clearing him. They say we don't have any conclusive evidence.
They're very clever with the language, aren't they, Imran? They're very clever with the language.
This is what I mean. So just from top to bottom, I thought they were going to have proper evidence clearing him. This isn't really clearing him. It's like saying that, yes, he was eating 50 eggs a day, and that was the reason why that got into his system. I mean, Andy, think about it. Who's going to believe that? No one's going to believe that. No one's going to believe that was why.
You know what, though, Imran? It doesn't matter what we think.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't. But, I mean, I just think it's crazy. I just think it's...
You're saying the WBC are not clearing him. Are they putting him back in their rankings?
Yeah.
Well, they're clearing him then, aren't they?
It's not as black and white as that.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
If you listen to the language...
Yeah, but the language doesn't matter, Cole. The actions matter. And the actions are...
Can he fight in Britain at the minute?
But he can fight abroad if he wants to. He can fight in America, anywhere. He's back in.
It's a problem for his career, isn't it?
No. I'm not on about fighting in England. I'm not on about the British board. I'm on about the WBC. The WBC, no matter what language they use, their actions speak louder than words. And the actions are, he's back in the rankings, which means he can fight again.
It still does his career no favours until I'll use the word clear, until he clears his name.
How's he going to do that, though, Cole? There's always going to be somebody that's going to turn around and say, how did that get in your system? No matter what he says or does, whether it's right or wrong. Me and you on this channel, mate, we never jumped all over it when it first happened. We never strung Conor Benn up and said, that's it, you're guilty, you're banned for life. And all like a lot of people did, including boxers, including pundits, including big broadcasting channels, by the way, as well. We never did that because we wanted to see what was going to happen. The problem you've got is there's always going to be, regardless of what Ben does or says, there's always going to be somebody that turns around and says, no matter what Ben does from now on, he's tainted, he's guilty.
I'll be some comments. So Joe said it's always trace amounts. That's why they microdose, and they haven't cleared him. WBC just accepted his account. Only a governing body or the testers can clear him. Matt Nash, good evening, Matt. Awful situation. WBC basically saying, yeah, go on then. We believe you. Ben loses all credibility going forward, and this will follow him forever. Then Ryan says, tongue-in-cheek, facts, I wanted a full English breakfast but couldn't get any eggs. Conor Benn wiped the shells out. I still think it's a mess.
How does it get sorted out then? Because...
Well, Robert Smith needs to get on with it now, and the British Boxing Board of Control, don't they? They need to get on with it.
The problem is, though, Cole...
Either ban him or he resumes his career.
The problem with Robert Smith and the British Boxing Board of Control, they're as guilty in this as anybody else. They should have made the decision first and foremost before anybody else, and they didn't do it. They've tried to hide behind the WBC a little bit by saying we're waiting to see what they come up with because it was their testing system that found it. The WBC are now saying, okay, well, we believe what Ben's accounts are. He's back in the rankings. I'm not sure the British Boxing Board are going to come up with a decision, mate. I don't think they've got the guts to.
I'll be honest with you, what the WBC says is irrelevant, really. And I'll pick up what Joe said. Joe says, Andy, the WBC are sanctioning body. They don't have the power to clear him. All they can do is accept his excuse, and they can give him a license to fight.
Well, yeah, and that's the exact thing. He can go and fight in America. He can go and fight anywhere else in the world apart from the UK. So basically, they're saying, "Go ahead, Ben. We'll sanction fights for you."
The other
No
trouble,
one's
though,
come
of
out of
course,
this
is
looking good, have they? Nobody have.
Say that again, Lee. Sorry.
Nobody's come out of this looking good, have they?
They've set a very dangerous precedent here. I'll be honest.
Well, somebody needs to make that particular banned substance very clear. They either make it banned or they don't, because other people are just going to take it now and go, "Oh, I've just had a load of eggs." And because they've set a precedence with Ben, how can they ban anybody else for it?
So Joe says he can fight in America, but not without a license. But they'll give him a license in America, won't they?
Of course they will.
And
They give it time and time again with fighters.
Yeah, Nevada will give him one, someone like that. Ryder Watts said British Boxing Board of Control won't want to miss out on their check and ban him. Interesting.
Sean, you was just about to say something before. Yeah, I don't think the board can ban him because on the UK rules, this drug isn't on their list, is it?
That's the point I was making.
There's just a massive grey area because the board can't ban him for banning a drugs test because technically he hasn't failed a UCAD one. So I just don't understand how it gets resolved anytime soon and him being cleared, so to speak.
Let's just go back to the fight that should have happened that didn't happen. The board didn't actually ban him. They just said it wasn't within the interests of boxing.
Yeah, when the Telegraph found out about it.
Say again?
When the Telegraph found out about it, they did.
Exactly. But they didn't actually ban him, did they?
No.
They didn't actually take his license away from him.
They couldn't, could they?
Before that happened.
Yeah, like Sean said, because it wasn't a UCAD test, they couldn't.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's a mess. Absolutely mess.
So how do the British Boxing Board now ban him, Cole? How can they?
They cannot sanction fights for him. So it's not a ban, but it effectively is, isn't it?
On what
so
grounds only?
Yeah, exactly. On what grounds?
That's where I'm struggling.
They can choose to not sanction a fight if he's failed drug tests anywhere. They reserve the right to do things like that, but they can't physically ban him.
But the organisation that he failed the drugs test on are saying that he's okay to fight now.
Yeah. So in
reality, they're now saying he hasn't failed a drug test.
It's a mess.
Conduct tests, VADA conduct tests for the WBC. So have VADA come out and said that this is what happened. This is the WBC that have come out. We don't know what they're
they must have taken their rulings from VADA though, Imran.
It's a mess. I think we can all agree it's a mess.
Have they said that though? This is what I mean. It's so clear. I mean, the reason we've got is that he ate 50 eggs a day. That's why. I mean, that's the reason. That's basically what we've got. So we and the British Boxing Board of Control have to believe that the man was eating 50 eggs a day, and that's why it got into his system. I mean, there needs to be a lot more than that than just that's not 50. He got it in his system because he was eating 50 eggs a day. I mean, there needs to be a lot more.
Is that the conclusion of that 200-odd page document, basically, that he was eating 50 eggs a day?
No, they have actually changed it to he was eating. It was 34 eggs a week. Now they are saying would be the amount that could be with those traces, which 34 eggs a week is plausible.
Yeah, that's normal for someone like him. But I mean, I've heard before it was saying 34 eggs a day.
Yeah, but I think people exaggerate stuff, don't they? But either way, it's not clear, is it? It's clear as mud at the moment.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, then let's agree that it's clear as mud. None of us can make our minds up whether we think it's right or wrong. So the question now is, if Ben fights again in the UK or abroad, will you buy a pay-per-view to watch him, Lee?
Maybe, potentially, yeah. Because people buy Tyson Fury, don't they? So
And Canelo.
Yeah. If he fights Errol Spence, he's called out Errol Spence, hasn't he?
He's called him out today.
I mean, yeah, I'd watch that to see Errol Spence give him a good iron for sure. I mean, the cheek of the man. Firstly, you know, whatever happened, then calling out Errol Spence and talking nonsense to the unified welterweight world champion. I mean, why your best wins Chris Van Heerden, or what's his best, Algieri? I mean,
under a cloud as well, Imran.
Okay.
His best wins Van Heerden under a cloud, I might add.
Yeah. I mean, Errol Spence would do some serious damage to Ben. I'll tell you that.
The thing is though, Imran, he's got to come out fighting. If he believes he's innocent, he's got to come out fighting.
But not like that though, Andy. I mean, he's been attacking the fans. He's been attacking fighters. He's been I mean,
he's attacking the people that have attacked him in reality.
It doesn't work though, Andy. Look what happened to Josh Taylor. Did exactly the same thing. It doesn't work. He's hated now.
And he'll lose fans because of it, Imran. Absolutely. But what I'm saying is, he's only attacking people that have attacked him. He's only attacking people that have pointed the finger and basically been judging jury. Whether that's right to be judging jury or not, they have done. And he's is it? You've seen Ben in interviews prior to this all going off. He's a spiteful, on the edge kind of character, isn't he?
He's emotional, isn't he?
Yeah, and that's never going to change. So if you back someone like that into the corner, what they're going to do? They're going to come out fighting, and that's exactly what he's doing. So I'm not surprised he's calling out one of the big names. The fact that Spence was never uttered by him prior to this tells you a lot about the fact that he thinks that he needs to fight one of the big boys to get fans back on side.
Well, I've heard he was in negotiations with a 50-year-old Manny Pacquiao, you know? So, yes. I mean, it's all smoke and mirrors, eh? I mean, he's calling out Spence. He did this before. Oh, yeah, I'll fight him. And then he goes and starts talking about fighting Kell Brook or Amir Khan or guys that are got one leg in the grave. I mean, you know, this is what they're doing. I mean, like, Eddie Hearn's trying to justify him wanting to fight Manny Pacquiao. He was like, well, Conor Benn's best win is Van Heerden. And like, Manny Pacquiao just fought Ugas. Yeah, 2 years ago, and got beat soundly. And now he's 45. I mean, you're trying to sell us that he's fighting, trying to sell us Manny Pacquiao, a guy that we know would have absolutely obliterated Ben in his prime. I mean, what are we being sold here? I mean, if he goes in there, what does he gain from that? Goes in there, knocks out Manny Pacquiao. Suppose, I don't know if he does knock out Manny Pacquiao, but just suppose he does. People will say, oh, well, he beat a skeleton of Manny Pacquiao. He didn't beat Manny Pacquiao, beat a skeleton. If Manny Pacquiao goes in there and beats him, he got beat by a 45-year-old man. I mean, what does he gain?
I mean, you know him, man. I've said time and time again on this show, it's about time he jumped in with even a live opponent would be nice, you know?
Why not Ugas? Why not the guy that beat Manny Pacquiao?
Ugas or Thurman?
Yeah, why not them?
They're the opponents he should be calling out. The guys that have been at world level, that are maybe just off now world level now. Maybe world level, but not elite. If he beats Ugas or Thurman, he puts himself right in the picture for a world title shot, don't he?
Oh, I can't believe you're talking about a world title shot. Let's move on because, yeah.
No, but don't it, Carl, if he beats them fighters?
Look, for me, he's got to clear his name for me. I've got less interest in watching him. I don't even think I'd watch him. Why? Because there's a piece of work there to be done to clear his name.
Carl,
That's never going to happen, though, Carl, is it? How can it happen? We've just gone through this.
Well, then I'm telling you, I've got.
So it's going to be a case. It's going to be a case like Canelo, like Tyson Fury, like Dillian White. You either believe it or you don't believe it. You either let it go and you carry on watching the guy fight, or you never watch his fights
well,
again.
I told you before that I put another slant on it. I'm bored of Conor Benn. He jumps in with people who he should be beating. Even before all this crap with eggs, it's about time he jumped in with someone now who's near world level. There you go. That's my assumption. And because I'm bored of him.
I think he'll have no. I think if to get people back on side, he'll have no choice but to fight somebody up there.
Well, it's about time. That's what I'd say. So let's move on to a different topic. So this is Fury versus Usyk going to fall through? So Imran, yes. I'll take your views on this first, Imran.
I'm not sure at the minute. I think they're talking about a fight at Wembley. They were first talking about Saudi, but it seems like the Saudis aren't willing to put in the money that Fury wants. Usyk, obviously Usyk's a warrior. He'd fight anywhere. I think Usyk's promoter came out and said that, this isn't Hollywood. If Tyson Fury wants to make crazy amount of money, he probably should become an actor. I mean, Tyson Fury, he seems a very difficult character. I don't know, he contradicts himself a lot. And Usyk, I know from his track record, the man will fight anybody. He's not difficult. I think we'll all agree with that. If you look at his resume, he'll fight anybody. He'll jump in with anybody. There's no... I mean, Fury, 1 minute he's talking about fighting Ngannou, then he's talking about fighting Joshua, then he's talking about our fight. I mean, we just like Fury. Look, if Fury wants to be considered one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, which I think he is a great, great heavyweight, by the way. I think he's a great special fighter. I'm not sure if he beats Usyk. I think that's a great fight. But the point is that you've got to fight the best. You can't keep looking for excuses and making excuses. You have to fight the best. Ali fought the best. Holyfield fought the best. Lewis fought the best. They didn't fanny about. They fought everybody, right?
Yep.
So if Tyson wants to be considered as one of the best heavyweights of all time, which he says he is. He says he's the greatest. He's better than Ali. He's better than these guys. He's better than Lewis. Okay, fight Usyk then and prove to us that you are the best of this generation. Because right now, you haven't fought Joshua. You haven't fought Usyk. You fought Wilder 3 times. You fought Derek Chisora 3 times. You fought Dillian Whyte. I mean, that's not that impressive a resume. I mean, fight Joe Joyce, fight Joshua, fight Usyk. Then, without doubt, he's one of the greatest heavyweights. I won't say he's better than Ali, but I would say he's one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. You could say top 10, top 5. That's my opinion.
Imran, I'm just going to pick a comment up in the sidebar from Joe.
Yeah.
I've heard this mentioned a few times. Usyk is asking for more than his worth. Belts don't put bums on seats or buy pay-per-views.
It takes 2 to have an undisputed fight, though.
But from a commercial perspective, though, Lee,
this is the problem with boxing now, though, Carl, in my opinion, and it's more about the commercial brand, the commercial side of things, than it is about the glory and the belts. Whether that's right or wrong, in my eyes, as a boxing fan, it's wrong. It should be about the belts. It should be about legacy. It should be about wanting, as Imran's just said, wanting to be the best by beating everybody in that era. But it's not. It's about splits. How many people you've got on Instagram and how many people you've got on Twitter and how many people follow you and how many bums you put on seats in your last fight. It's not about how many world titles you've got. Because in reality, Usyk should command more of the purse because he holds more belts.
But to be fair, Usyk did have a deal with Saudi Arabia. Who was the one that didn't?
Exactly. Oh, exactly. Yeah.
But you can imagine Tyson walking in there, can't you, and wanting a 60-40.
Easy.
I don't think it's Usyk that's being difficult. I don't.
The problem you've got, the problem you've got is, by all accounts, the deal's not been agreed in Saudi, and they might have pulled out. If that's the case, and the only option is Wembley, this fight doesn't happen because Wembley doesn't make enough money. Simple.
It's obviously a stumbling block in Saudi, or it would have been made long ago.
Yeah.
I think it's the ego that he's not being offered as much as AJ was.
Possibly.
Then that's a poor show. If that's if that's what's stopping Tyson Fury completing his legacy, then that's a poor show, isn't it? If that's the case, I'd be very disappointed if that was what's driving him as a fighter. It's not like he hasn't got enough money now.
So Ryan says, if Fury was under-earned, the fight inside it would have happened.
I agree.
That's a pointless argument.
I think it's talking about Earn's relationship into.
I don't think that. I actually on this occasion, I actually don't think it's anything to do with the promoters. I blame the promoters a lot for not making these massive fights because their egos get in the way. Actually, this time, I actually don't think it's anything to do with them. I think.
I'll just take this under. So Jack Gladman says, "Good evening, Jack. Usyk team aren't blameless." So Jack, if you want to jump on and explain that a bit further, that'd be great. Because I think I've heard through the grapevine, Usyk's teams are very easy to deal with. So,
if this doesn't happen now, though, lads, if this doesn't happen now, these belts get split and undisputed never happens.
Yeah, and Fury will be blamed. I don't think Usyk will be blamed because people will say he became undisputed in cruiserweight. He's always fought the best wherever he's gone. He's always fought the best. Whereas Fury's been the one that's difficult and contradicts himself all the time. So, I mean, I just look at it logically. Like Fury, look at what he's done throughout his career. Look at what Usyk's done throughout his career. I mean, look at the guys that Usyk has stepped up time and time again, going to their backyards and fighting them. I don't think he's a very difficult guy. I mean,
he's been the B team plenty of times, hasn't he?
Say that again. Sorry, Lee.
He's been happy to be the B team plenty of times.
Lee, can you remember when Fury said, when Fury was going through his depression and stuff, and he came back and he said Joshua offered him 60-40, and at that time that was a fair split. I mean, where they were in their careers, and Fury said, "I'm a fair man. I would never take 60-40 because for me it's got to be 50-50 down the middle because I'm a fair man." Right? This is what Fury uttered out of his own mouth. So why change that narrative now when Usyk is the unified champion? So that means the guy lies, basically. Right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise he wouldn't say that. He said that in IFL TV Union. I'm a fair man and I will take 50-50 with Joshua. And yet he was in no position to ask for 50-50 at that point. I thought 60-40 was very fair where Fury was in his career and where Joshua was. And then when Fury became a WBC champion, Joshua was willing to accept 60-40, according to her, and they said they're willing to accept 60-40. Whereas Fury, if Joshua could have said, "Look how big a star I am, look how much money I've made, why not 50-50?" But yet Fury wasn't willing to.
So Jack has said that he's heard that they wanted multiple times his career eye purse to fight. So. Right, we're going to wrap the show, guys. One last question for you all before I go. So, obviously, there's a couple of crossover fights this weekend. So, there's one, honestly, whether you're going to watch it or not. So, Sean, Mayweather versus Chalmers, are you going to watch it? It's only £30 pay-per-view.
I think I'll give that one a miss.
And what about Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury on Sunday?
I may venture into that one.
Interesting. Lee, same question for you. Are you going to watch Mayweather Saturday night?
No.
And what about Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury Sunday?
I'm actually looking forward to it. So yeah,
I am as well. Imran, same question, fella.
Imran, please.
Are you going to watch Mayweather on Saturday?
I'm not going to watch Mayweather. No, I mean I'll probably catch the highlights.
What about Jake Paul? What about Jake Paul?
I'm going to watch that. I'm invested in that one. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I've got winning. Jake Paul for the win, I think.
I'm not watching Saturday, but I'll be honest with you. I will be watching Sunday's fight. Just curiosity.
Yeah.
And I know you're not watching either.
I want nothing to do with any of you anymore because you're all full of shit.
I think Sunday's intriguing. I think we're allowed to watch Sunday.
Say, come on, lads.
Apparently, Andy, you know what? It's going to be the biggest fight of the year, they're saying.
Behave, Imran. Stop talking now.
And what, with WBC ranking points on the line, you've got to watch, Anya.
It's on BBC Sport. They're talking about it on BBC Sport.
I don't give a shit what they're talking about it on. It's pathetic. It shouldn't be happening. The WBC, oh, Jesus Christ. I said at the start of the show to Carl, I wasn't going to talk about this, but I've got no choice now because you lot are being pathetic.
They've even got a belt on the line, haven't they? WBC have come up with a belt.
Biggest belt in boxing, that, isn't it?
Fucking joke.
And Jake Paul gets a ranking, don't he, if he wins? He gets top 4.
Imran, are you just trying to wind me up?
I'm being serious.
I'm only watching it because my daughter's watching it, honestly. That's
yeah, right.
Sure.
Do you know what? Do you know what though, lads? All joking aside, this is damaging to boxing. I don't give a shit what anybody says. All these, you know what annoys me as well, and it's really sad that the very highly thought of members of the boxing community have flown over to get involved in this. If the unthinkable happens, right, and Jake Paul wins this fight, it's the end of boxing as we know it. I'll say it right now. Boxing's done.
Tommy Fury knocked him out.
I swear, boxing is done. Because where did he go from there? You're putting somebody. Hold on a minute. You're putting somebody that's never had a professional fight in with somebody else that's only had 8, and you're giving him a WBC ranking.
Right to Mr. Sullivan.
It's an absolute
Maurizio Sullivan, WBC, California, USA. So send him a letter.
I don't give a shit whether this gets taken down off YouTube, Cole. It's a fucking joke.
Jake Paul wins.
I'll catch you later, guys. I've got a bow. See you later.
Don't say that, Sean. You'll have a stroke in a minute. Think about your blood pressure under.
If this means that I never get, or Cole might not like me for saying this, right? If my opinion here, I'll never ever change my opinion either. Boxing is going to die on Sunday night if Jake Paul wins.
He won't win.
Why? Why do you think that?
Because then all these big promoters are going to bring all these YouTubers flying in, giving them rankings here and rankings there. There's fighters all over the country, in this country, never mind all around the world, that have struggled, Imran, to make their way in boxing, to try and get rankings, to try and get this, try and get that. This mug, because he's got millions, he's bought the best coaches, he's fought nobody, yet he's going to get a WBC ranking out of nowhere.
Even Johnny Nelson called him a pro fighter and said he liked what he saw. He quite rates him.
On now.
Come on, Johnny.
No.
Andy Froch wants to scrap with him.
Yeah.
Froch was all over it. He wants to scrap with him. He said I'll if I'll get in shape and I'll go and flatten him. So, I mean, everybody wants it because they know it's a payday. Froch, that would be good for Froch. Good payday. It should be easily beat.
Maybe it's a payday. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's the other. I tell you what it is. It's bullshit.
I'm okay as long as they stay in the lanes. As long as they stay in the lanes, I've got no problem.
Yeah, but Cole, they're not staying in the lanes, are they? Because this has already blurred the lines. Because the WBC think it's brilliant because of all the followers he's got.
He's a pro fighter. He's got a pro camp around him. He's licensed.
He's not a pro fighter. He's fought nobody.
Well, he's licensed. He will do this weekend.
Oh yeah.
He'll get knocked out.
And if he wins, he goes straight into the WBC rankings.
You won't win.
Are you comfortable with that?
No, but what I'm saying, that's why I make the point. As long as he only gets a WBC ranking, what is it, 40? Something stupid.
40. So you're telling me that he's the 40th best cruiserweight in the world?
He's got his license.
After one fight. He's the 40th best cruiserweight in the world after one fight. Do you think Tommy Fury is the 40th best cruiserweight in the world?
No.
So I can beat him, Tommy Fury, then make Jake Paul the 40th best cruiserweight in the world.
Tommy Fury's not even a cruiserweight. Tommy Fury's a light heavyweight. Yeah. He's not even a cruiserweight.
Well, this is at cruiserweight though, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
Right.
But Fury's never fought at cruiserweight. So
but this is at cruiserweight, so that's where the ranking is. The point I'm making is this is absolutely if the WBC have fallen into this trap of the guy's a superstar, he's got millions of followers. So let's jump on that bandwagon. Let's make a load of money off of him. Let's put him in the rankings when all they're doing is they're shitting on all the professional boxers around the world that have grafted. That's what they're doing. That's all this YouTube bollocks is. They're shitting on boxing. And all these people that are jumping on it, all these professionals, professional boxers, pundits, all these people that are jumping on it saying it's okay and it's this and it's that. No, it's not. It's not okay.
So, Andy, when do we start calling Jake Paul a pro boxer?
Eh?
When do we start calling Jake Paul a pro boxer then? If he does win on Sunday, when do we draw the line and say he's actually a fighter?
Imran. If he beats Fury, he's 1-0 as a pro boxer.
Yeah. But I mean that's a good opponent though for your first fight. I mean
Is it?
What Tommy Fury? A debut fight. You don't think that's a good opponent? I mean, I don't know anybody in the first fight.
And it's not Jake Paul.
It's a good opponent it's a good opponent for a pro debut, yeah? I'll give you that. But is it worthy of a WBC ranking?
Oh, no, I'm not talking... Obviously, that's corrupt. We know that.
But boxing him rolling the red carpet out for him, aren't there?
That's my point.
With Jake Paul is
that's my point, Carl. Boxing and bending over backwards to give him what they want. You know the next thing that's going to happen, don't you? He'll get a world title shot.
Nah, he will.
Of course he will.
No.
WBC are going to give him one.
Calm yourself down.
Against two? Nah, that's...
Against whoever the WBC champion is.
He's getting excited.
This is purely a gimmick for this weekend.
Can't you see that down the line,
he'll get knocked out.
Maximum of a year down the line, if he wins this fight, maximum of a year down the line, and they'll pick his fighters and
so
whether the fights are actually genuine or not, or is another subject, he will get a world title shot.
So Joe says it's just a bit of fun.
That's why it's the death of boxing.
Whoa. It's just a bit of fun. Plus, it's the only time my kids talk to me is when YouTubers are fighting.
I'm not wearing
all the WBC ranking thing is this weekend, though. It's just a gimmick for this fight. It doesn't really mean anything.
It's for that for the WBC, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a lovely belt, though.
I don't even understand why you're laughing, lads. Can you not see what this is going to do?
Take it for what it is. Take it for what it is. That's what you got to do. Don't get too uptight about it.
I am. Sorry,
as long as whoever wins this fight starts actually fighting boxers, I haven't got a problem. Because both of these guys can fight a little bit. So they should, if they want to take boxing seriously, they should stop not fighting all that crap with like if Jake Paul starts to fight KSI and stuff like that. No. I actually think Jake Paul can box a little bit. He should then pursue a career in professional boxing rather than fighting these guys, 50-year-old MMA fighters and stuff. There's no point in that. Fight proper fighters, and then you'll get more credibility from people like Andy. Who's then probably
shouldn't be allowed to buy his way in though, Imran.
But Andy, we could say the same about Conor Benn. I mean, the guy got leg up. Let's be honest. He did Conor Benn didn't get a leg up.
No, I'm not saying he didn't get a leg up, but he hasn't bought his way in, has he? He still had to start at the very beginning as a pro fighter. And hold on a minute. Yeah, his name gave him the lift up. His name got him on the platform. But don't you think that put extra pressure on him as well?
Yeah, and Jake's probably going to have to go. He's gone through the same thing on a much higher level, by the way.
He hasn't gone through nothing. I mean, what's Jake Paul gone through? He's gone through nothing, Imran. He's fought 45-year-old ex-MMA fighters.
I do think you're anti-Jake Paul.
And they're fighters, though, Andy. He's not a fighter.
It's outrageous.
Jake Paul's not. I mean,
it's outrageous, mate.
I can't wait to get my WBC Jake Paul t-shirt. I can't wait. Monday morning, straight on that website.
Right, I'm off, Scare. I can't listen to this anymore.
No worries. So we'll pick the Jake Paul Tommy Fury fight up next Thursday. Do a review on it. Obviously, Andy We'll catch it on YouTube the next day. He might admit that he won't, but he will.
No, I won't.
Curious.
I won't watch it, mate.
Thank you all for the comments.
I mean,
in the
it'll be
side.
everywhere.
Say again, Imran.
It'll be everywhere. It's not like he can avoid it, can he? It's not like you won't know what happened.
Looks like I'm going to have to burn my eyes out then, don't it, Imran?
He'll be watching it, Imran. Don't take all this. This is all pantomime. He'll be there with his crisps and Coca-Cola watching it in his pants. Don't kid yourself. Okay, thank you for Imran. Cheers for joining, fella. Sean, thank you for joining.
Cheers,
and
guys.
go and get your blood pressure tablets for God's sake. Thank you for all the comments on the side. Same time next week. Come on, Tom, do the job for us. Take care, everybody.